Good morning. Good morning. Here I am. Welcome back. Who am I? Who am I? I think it's a valid question. And it has become my spiritual practice. We're going to do this for an hour or so. We're going to occasionally touch some good new material, even though it's just me. We're going to see where it goes. We're discussing and riffing on our nature. Who am I? How does it work? How does my psyche work? How do my emotions work? What is this medium of reality that we are all swimming in? Just in a general way, you may be surprised to know that in very, very general terms, we as humanity have not generally decided what the setup is. A general common way to look at it that lines us all up with source. That's the most important thing. And then because we're all lined up to source now, we're all lined up to each other. Alignment. Alignment is the concept of the future, people. It's the difference between looking at whether people are good and bad, or whether they are just more or less in alignment with who they are. That's the new way to look at ourselves going forward. And in looking at ourselves that way, we no longer will be asking questions about ultimate worth of one another. Of course, we each have ultimate worth. If you are here, you're here for a reason. You are important. You matter. You literally matter. Literally, you matter. You are mattering right now. That's why you're here. You have come into physical form. That's what it means for you to be here in physical form. And because you're in physical form, literally, you are mattering. So my favorite topic in all of this discussion, because I just love this topic, I think it's the coolest thing, and it's going to bring us all together. It's going to heal all our wounds. It's going to answer all of our questions. It's going to solve all of our problems. This viewpoint, this source-based, source-driven viewpoint that um, that sees us all as valuable and puts you into alignment with source and your nose out of everybody else's business, because you understand that the universe is attractive in nature. It is only attractive in nature. It is not assertive. So when you think that you are asserting your nose into other people's business, and you are, but what you actually are doing is attracting to yourself experiences on the frequencies that you spend all your time looking at. So if you are in other people's business based on the bad things you think they're doing, and you think you are asserting your goodness into their bad space or whatever it is you think you're doing, you're actually just attracting to your own life the negative frequencies that you're on about their business. Do you know what I mean? You can't assert. There's no assertion, there's only attraction. And so as you focus on whatever it is you focus on, you're attracting to your universe whatever frequencies you're on. That's just what you're doing. You're attracting whatever frequencies you're on, you're thinking about them, and you're attracting those experiences and those objects or those spirits to your universe, because every single one of us in a really cool and mystically important way, I'm sure, is in charge. You're captaining your very own universe. Did you know that? The universes, the multiverses, are big enough to hold everybody's individual universe. I got my own universe going on, and you've got your own universe going on. The trick, the caveat to that is that both of our universes are nestled in a bigger frame in another universe where they are together. My universe and your universe are coexisting, but the whole framework is big enough that you are creating your very own universe. And all of the darknesses that you focus on are actually just igniting frequencies within your own orchestration and causing you a lot of grief. That's what they are doing. You're causing grief in your own personal experience because your own personal experience, in a way, is your own universe, is your own personal thing, is your own, doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. You are manning a particular area on the grid that's all yours. However, that piece of the grid is nestled in with the rest of the grid and it's all matrixed together. And how is it matrixed together, you ask? Through an energy field. An energy field that scientists are just starting to figure out. Now, our conventional commercial scientists, for their own whatever reasons, are not there yet. It's because our commercial scientists are owned. They are owned by organizational structures that are already based on something else and they're already going in other directions. They're based on and there's a lot of ways you could say it. They are based on the old paradigm, for sure. And the old paradigm is occupied and owned by entities that are commercial entities that are already engaged in, they already are where they are, and their momentum is what it is. They are employed by commercial entities coming up with new objects that they can build that we can buy. They aren't really engaged. Our commercial physicists and scientists are less and less engaged in non-commercial activity, exploration, discovering new things. I'll tell you what, though, this new understanding of the universe is going to have plenty of commercial implications and commercial upheaval, I believe, with the system we've got going on right now. Although what's coming is going to be very related to it. It's just there's going to be some morphogenesis going on, some morphing. One of the things I'll tell you is that being able to plug our technologies directly into source energy is going to bypass having to buy the energy itself. What you'll have to buy, what you'll have to come up with is the technologies and the what do you call it when you take existing technologies and you transform them, because they kind of work but they need to be, it's like when you take a dryer that's made for propane and convert it. Yeah, conversion, that's the word. There's going to be conversion technologies and conversion, a lot of that sort of stuff going on. But when you plug directly into source energy, you're going to bypass the entire industry that has to extract fuel from somewhere, convert it into usable whatever, ship it, pipe it, transport it around the world, and then use it on all the different technologies as we get away from, let's forget about get away from. Let's talk about what we're going to, not what we're going from. What we're going to is when you understand source energy, when you understand the structure of the universe, the matrix, um, the 0 point energy field is what you need to understand. That at every point, everywhere, you've got solid pack, dense plonk frequencies. It's solid frequencies. There's no empty space anywhere. When it's organized, when it's highly organized, the ether looks like matter. Highly organized structures look like matter, and depending on and then if it doesn't look organized, then it just looks like space, but that space isn't empty. It's filled with frequencies. And if it doesn't have like broadcasting type frequencies that you can tap into, actually everything is there. The thoughts I'm thinking right now are now. It's like I'm Rumpelstiltskin and I have just spun out an idea. Well, that thought is now floating around in the ether. And the reason that snowflake, I started to say this. If this turns out good, I'll do as Dear Sabrina. And if I don't do it as a Dear Sabrina, everybody else just said, what? What are you talking about? The reason I'm thinking that, so yesterday, day before yesterday, as I was doing a Dear Sabrina version of this show, I was talking about cymatics. I didn't finish my thoughts about it because I didn't go to the two pictures that I have about it. I was just talking about cymatics and Hans Jenny and the granular medium bouncing on a flat metal plate and then dancing into different coherent patterns. I never showed um, the pictures that I have. So the first one is these are cymatic patterns, but these are digital cymatic patterns put through some sort of a technological device. And every time you change the frequency that you're piping through this, you've seen it. They attach things like this to music, and then every time a note is changed, it's a different frequency, and so you have all kinds of visual kaleidoscope, dancing in front of you as the frequencies make the different forms appear. Well, that's kind of what this one is. This is a picture of different cymatic patterns. Now, this picture I've got, this is more natural cymatic patterns. Well, upper right and lower left, that's the metal plate. They've used a black metal plate and some light colored granular medium so that you can see it really clearly, take good pictures. But that's what those are, the different patterns that appear as you pipe different frequencies. Now, lower right, upper left, you can see these are cymatic patterns, but they are natural cymatic patterns. And the reason I put this whole presentation into my studio is that this helps illustrate that we really do effing live in a vibrational universe. This is a vibrational universe. And I was just thinking about, all those frequencies in the air between us, and the thoughts that I'm spinning, every thought that has ever been thought still exists, and you can pick up on it. You have a transmitter and a receiver of a brain. Both your physical brain is that way, but you have a larger self. And this larger self is pure vibrational frequency. She's not limited by any matter, by any material form. If she has any anchoring in materiality, it is where your body is. She is anchored in physicality by virtue of your body. And but she is the larger part of you, even though it's interesting, you may not even know she exists. I like to call her a she. She doesn't have any sexual gender in that way, but the she aspect is the nurturing mother, Mother Nature, the goddess, the mother goddess. It could be a he. It's a he she. It's an all-inclusive, all-encompassing gender that is all nurturing, all protective, all gloriously abundant, whatever that. She is also attached to your allness factor. You have an allness factor. This comes from the Nassim Haramein branch of the informational tree. The idea that the whole universe is holographic, and it is transferring all of its information through this holo- the way I like to put it is all of the points are uploading their information to the whole, and the wholeness is downloading its wholeness of information to all the parts, and the way that it does it is through a vibrational jiggle, through frequencies that are jiggling together. It's a vibration, and your inner being, your larger source based self, is tapping into that. She doesn't have to go anywhere to do it. All she has to do is feel and think together. That's what she does. She feels and thinks together. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. With your physical mind, you can go all over the place. My own original religion made a big deal out of somehow human beings have this free agency. Well, the free agency that we have is the ability to think anywhere. We can think in the positive, we can think in the negative, we can go to the past, we can project to the future, we can, stay right here and now. We can look at this part or that part. We can look at it partially this way. That's what we can do. What your inner being in some ways is not as flexible as you, in a way. But I wouldn't, get too excited about putting limitations on your inner being either. The thing is she always thinks in the positive. She always thinks in the positive, and she is always here and now. She's always here and now, but the here and now that she is in is a vibrational place, and so it would feel to us like she's living in the future, living in the pure positive future. That's where she is. It looks like now to her, and she has all the information of the past, but it doesn't look like past to her. It looks like everything here and now. It looks like she knows everything because there's nothing hidden from her. That's the secret to us. The little people on the ground, the game is the hide and seek. Sometimes we forget who we are, and then we remember who we are, and then we forget who we are, and then we remember who we are. Oh, we're the whole thing, and then we're just our little selves, and we fool ourselves, and then we remember. It's a funny thing we're doing. But we could, with our analytical mind, it's all the only thing I'm doing with this is just putting my analytical mind to my pure positive self. That's all. Now, I recognize, even as I'm spinning out pure positive, flying frequencies, I know that I live in a world of limitation and scarcity and competition, and everybody's not getting along, and there's all kinds of issues on the ground. I I recognize that to a point, but it's funny. You don't have to look at it that way. And as a matter of fact, it's very, very helpful not to look at it that way. And the only reason I ever do that disclaimer is so that you will realize that this thing that I'm doing is not disconnected from reality. And I am not um, I haven't lost my marbles, if you will. I do recognize the real world, and I do recognize the problems that we've got going on. I'll tell you what I think the problems are. The big problems with the capital P, and then we leave them behind. Because the answer to our problems is to understand our design, to understand who we are, and understand what the matrix is and how it works, so that we can tap into it, so that we don't have to burn the planet up trying to extract fuel. Because we don't need to. We don't need to. We have more energy at the tips of our fingers than we could ever dig up out of the ground. And it's cleaner, and it's connected to all things. And all that we have to do is understand it. Now, the cool and funny thing that happens is that when you understand source energy, all the implications is that you understand yourself. I didn't realize that was a video. I should go find this original slide, and it's on the internet somewhere. Anyway, the middle pictures that I got showing, and I will get off of this screen. The middle pictures, that snowflake there, a snowflake, and actually there's a bunch of snowflakes up here to the upper right, to the left of the patterns on the metal plates. The reason that snowflakes are all different is because the field between you and I is absolutely jam-packed with all kinds of thoughts, frequencies, there's bandwidths, there's subspace. Actually, I think subspace is a different thing. There's radio waves, there's gamma waves, there's all kinds of frequencies. It's all different frequencies. And as those snowflakes form, the ice crystals form, each one on a different frequency, each one forms a different pattern. That's exactly why that happens. And one of the really important things to think about when you ponder a vibrational universe is that when you recognize that the vibration comes first, and your heart can feel it, your body can feel it, and your brain, who is very clever, could analyze it if you had the whole structure lined up with how reality actually is. Then you could put your analytical brain to thinking about, what is your structure and how does it work, which is basically what I'm trying to do. So who am I in all of this if the greater part of myself is pure vibration? And do you know that the greater part of yourself, while in this discussion, because I noticed that over a couple of years of doing this discussion, hold on. Actually, I don't know where I was going, but after a couple of years of doing this discussion, I have noticed some things about. So you have this inner self inside of you. She is there, and she is only ever thinking pure positive thoughts. Now you can get into close proximity to her and start translating her high vibrational frequencies. You can start doing this. She is you, but she is you at a very, very high frequency, and most of you is actually, I'm not sure what I'm going to pronounce here. I'm going to leave this screen right now. This is my cymatics screen. There is important stuff here. let me hold here for just another few seconds and see if I can deliver the illustration of, so your inner being is sitting in the vibrational place. Because only in the vibrational place is there enough space that you can see all of the information. In the vibrational place, all of the information fits on a Planck or a proton. All the Plancks fit in one proton. Every Planck in every proton is representing all the other protons in all the rest of the universe. There's a holographic nature of things going on. What does this matter to me? How does this matter? Well, and literally, how does it matter? How does it materialize? How does this go to the questions that everybody in the real world wants to know? How do I get my money? Where's my money? Well, your money is currency. Think of it as currency, first of all. And currency runs the universe. Now, I have come to believe that the true currency that is moving the universe, I'm going to move to a different, let's see where I want to go. Not paused, no. Nope. Nope. Yeah. I want to go camping, back where I was. So who am I? Who am I? And I'm not sure how to get money yet. I have been noticing how to get what I want in general and spiritual ways. And what I have been wanting all of my life is general things. And in my general life, certain general things have materialized in very nice way. General peace, sanctuary, loving relationships really close to my close personal person. No drama or surprises in the immediate vicinity, the person that you pick as your significant other. You want to be sure about them in a way. You want to be able to, if you can hold on to you, then you hold them in a place of peace and order. You don't have a loose cannon that goes wild. Well, not everybody wants that. Some people want a wilder ride. They want more of a challenge. I lived some life earlier on and got real tired of certain things I didn't want. And I have realized that I have held certain qualities in very, very high reverence. And because of that, those things that I have held in value, they have materialized around me. Very interesting. Now, I would like to extrapolate that process over to, not have it fall apart when I think about money. Money, what I want is abundance. I want general abundance. And what I really want is general abundance for the whole planet. I want us all to get to the place where we understand who we are constructively, and we understand what our destructive side is too. And without judgment, we understand ourselves. We love ourselves. We love each other. And we love one another into our blessed and joyful future, while at the same time not having blinders on. I understand that we are in the midst of unkind, cruel behavior. I believe it all comes from not knowing who we are, from being out of alignment with our source, when in alignment with Source, that actually we're okay and life unfolds just fine. So let's talk about the inner being, the vibrational inner being, because she is the most important player in this. And I'll tell you why your inner being is the most important player in this, because at some level, your inner being and you are not different entities. She is with you all the time. The question is, where are you? Because she is with you, but you are not always with her. How can that be? If she's always with you, aren't you always together? Well, yes. There's a sense or a dimension, an aspect, a way of looking at it where in that place you are always together, but your thinking brain can go wherever it wants. Think about your analytical thinking mind. You can take any thought. You can take dumb, stupid, foolish thoughts. You can take wise, brilliant, genius thoughts. You can take sad, horrific, monstrous thoughts. You can take blessed, divine, you can take destructive thoughts. You can take constructive thoughts. You can take your brainscape is yours. That's where you have the free agency, and that's where the devil can play. But I wouldn't advise really worrying about it in that way. Well, that is where the devil's born, right there in your thoughts. However, I wouldn't worry about it too much, and don't admonish other people with red light flashing from your eyes about, don't think about the devil will get you. I don't know. You know, the person who's always the most concerned about evil and sin and the devil in the stories is always the wicked one. She's the one in the Handmaiden's Tale, you know, what is that woman's name? The one who's always the most concerned about, she's the one actually carrying the evil frequencies. That's because whatever you're thinking about, however you're thinking, and what you're tuned into, that's what you're plugged into, and that's what you are creating. That's how the whole thing works. So even though this is indeed, oh man, I hate that noise. I'm so sorry. Let me, oops, that didn't do it. That'll calm it down. So sorry. So, the idea, your inner being is always on her positive track, thinking her positive thoughts, connected to all of the reality around her, and all of the positive thoughts coming from every other being in all the reality around. She's busy with that. There's so much going on over there. She doesn't have time for you and your negative stuff. But she's always got her positive frequencies shining, going. They are continuous. There is no interruption over there in the positive stream. None whatsoever. Now you over here with your little physical mind, you have the option of tuning into any frequency that you want to. Taking any thought, and every thought that's ever been thought still exists. You could come into contact with it, proximity with it. It can drop into your mind. You can think it again. Any thought. When you think thoughts that resonate with your larger self, those thoughts feel good. When you think thoughts that do not resonate with the thoughts your inner being is having, but rather diverge from the kinds of thoughts your inner being is thinking. Those thoughts don't feel good. The separation in the frequencies is what makes you go, ugh, oh, I don't like this feeling. It makes me feel restless, uncomfortable, hot, sweaty, fearful, whatever. It's making me anxious. It's making me whatever as I ponder um, some aspect of the world. See, the problem is you ponder that aspect, that singular aspect that you're looking at might be true, but the reality of the whole thing is totally mitigated by the fact that there are 20,000 jillion other things that are also true at the same time that are purely positive. And so that one little negative thing that you've plucked out of the whole picture and you're focusing on it, and it's got a way different frequency than what your inner being, who's looking at all things, what she's got going on. And those two frequencies, that's what's causing your emotions. And so the whole idea of the emotional guidance system is, now human beings love the drama. We love the drama. We love the melodrama. We absolutely love the stories that you know, melt us into tears, you know. Actually, if it goes too far, I can't handle it. There was it doesn't matter. But human beings love the melodrama. That's why we keep creating as entertainment shows that terrify us, that cause us to bawl, and it's because our emotions are also a beautiful instrument that we need to play. We need to understand what this thing is. The movies are really important. Being able to go into experience without actually the blood being shed is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so to have the ability to make movies about the old wars and stuff so that we can go into the experiences in a constructive manner instead of having to go into the experiences in a freaking real way and in a destructive way. We just need to understand who we are. And who are we? Who are we? You are pure positive energy. That's who you really are. Now, you are your body self. Man, it's funny. I try to remember that what I want to do at the beginning of this show is give the bad news so that people will remember that we do have bad news. But, I don't know what state the bad news is in. Because actually, one cell at a time, I know humanity is getting it. I know that most of the world sees through the shenanigans of Donald Trump. I know that we're getting it. We all have an inner being, and all of us are launching preferences to that inner being. And that inner being is riding the rockets. I have not. I should set this up in an orderly fashion so that at the very beginning of every show, I have a couple of things that I just run through. One is the bad news. We're going to do the bad news for about 30 seconds, maybe 60. I don't know. I don't like to go that far because if I talk about it too long, then the next thing you know, I'm talking about specifics of our bad news, and I don't want to talk about that. But we do generally have bad news. Global warming is a problem. Um, Now, we are not causing all of the global warming. What it is we have a cyclical natural warming event that is underway. Every 5,000 years, Greg Braden would be able to tell me how long this cyclical event is. It has to do with how the planet's moving through the larger frame of the galaxy and the different energies. And, you go through the ice cores at the Antarctic and look at the record of the history through time, through the ice core. You can see there it is. There's the warming. There's another warming. There's another warming. You can see it in the records. There's the geological records all over the planet. You can see the ice ages and the. Where are you going, Rook? In any case, we're not causing all of the global warming. The problem is we're causing the biological diversity subtraction event, sixth mass extinction, loss of biological diversity. That one we are causing. And through our activities on the planet, mostly the activities that are the problem is the extraction of energy activities. The extraction of energy, the extraction of rare minerals. There are minerals that are needed for certain things. Now, in our world of the future, where we have conquered gravity and we understand the matrix, so we can tap into the 0-point energy field, we can tap into source energy for our energy source. Gee, what a concept. Tap into source energy for our energy source. And then now we understand the structure of the universe and we understand what gravity is. And we're like, oh, that's how to redirect gravity, is kind of what you do. You point the nose of the starship into a artificial gravity, a singularity. You point it towards a singularity that you're creating, and you get the ship to go wherever by using the structure of the grid, the structure of the matrix itself, the sacred geometry of the matrix, the connected nature of the matrix. The fact that vibrationally, if you could crack the vibrational code, all the information of across the universe is contained in all the materiality of everything close to you. But you have to figure out how to use that information to go to tap into a frequency of over there, right here where you are. So that right here where you are, you can just go to over there by tapping into the frequency of it. You don't have to go anywhere because over there is right here. Everything is right here. And now. Isn't that interesting? All the information of every when and everywhere is right here and now. And how the past is with you is through a continuum of vibrational information. That's what you are. You're a continuum of vibrational information, a continuum of a record of desire and connection that you have been through time, names that you have been, loves that you have had, different experiences that you have connected to. You are a continuum of that. That is the information that your inner being is holding. So you are two selves. You are a temporary self as well as a continuous self. You are both. You are both only now and forever and always. You are both. Now your temporary self is encased in this flesh. It has come into form and it is having experience. Positive and negative, wanted and unwanted. And the whole idea is you're supposed to figure out who you are and what's the nature of the reality that you are swimming in. And apparently, as human beings, we've been given this monumental puzzle. And well, there's clues. There's one book translated many, many times in lots of different languages, 10,000 years old. I'm not sure how old the Bible is. It's at least 5,000 years old. It's a really old book. And it is likely some of that has come down from earlier stuff. There are old writings out there that are, I don't think the Bible is the oldest one, but the Bible is an old book that a lot of people believe in and revere. So I thought it was a good idea to refer to it. Maybe that makes it a bad idea to refer to it. I don't know. We're given some clues, but basically no user's manual. We just have to figure it out. Now, we live in a really, really, really blessed and cool time right now because all the information is scattered at our feet. And you can get to all the information. It's going to get harder, and you're going to have to buy your way into some of it that you can get for free now. And we could turn that around, though, so I don't even want to project anything negative, even though it's possible. Whatever you're projecting, there's negative possibilities and there's positive possibilities, and whatever you're projecting, you're sort of laying the groundwork, the grid work for that being the experience that you follow. The fact is if you got really good at scripting and focusing, and you threw your future track on the road in front of you by scripting pure positive, and then being so busy thinking about more positive things that your monkey mind did not fall into, well, now I'm not doing anything. Now I start thinking about all the negatives. If you could keep yourself in the positive track, you could live a life of such, what other people would consider such low probability. How does everything work out for you? It's because I've gotten into alignment with everything. There is nothing that is an exception in my life anymore. All of these things work out except for over here when you bring up this subject. Now I knee-jerk to some negative, whatever, and that's the one that I disallow. If there's no subject anymore that you disallow because you can go general on all things, now you've got it. And you can live, you could script everything. This is the way I want it to go. And then as soon as you've done scripting that, then start thinking about some other positive thing, and then some other positive thing, and some other positive thing, and some other positive thing. That's what your inner being is doing. Actually, she's just resting in a positive field at all times, knowing all things. Who is she? I come up with different words at different times to describe what she is, because she is you, but she's sort of just your highest frequency you. And she's on all the time. And sometimes you run into her, and sometimes she goes into the rearview mirror. That's just from your micro perspective, though. Remember, you are the macro and the micro. And what does all this mean? Because I am my micro, which fits in with a micro that you are, that we are all part of a big macro something. And then vibrationally, my inner being, whether I like it or not, is inseparable from your inner being. That's how I know that we are all in this together, and my desires dovetail with your desires somehow. My desires are cooking up cooperative components in the rest of the field. We are all connected. We are matrixed together, and your very desires are designed to be met by components cooking in the rest of the field. And as a human being, a lot of it is coming from one another. It's coming from other human beings. This is part of this is it's like a telepathic wavelength that we all exist on, that most of us have no awareness that this telepathic field even exists. And so we're not looking that way, we're not expecting it, we're not fleshing it out, we're not working on it, we're not building the synchronicity muscle. We have not even come to the place where we are recognizing what synchronicity is and how we could move towards it. What would it be like to live in a world of order governed only by synchronicity and by the wisdom of human beings who understand who they are and what they are about? That we are all in this together. We are all in this together. There is no us and them in the larger picture. Now I recognize that you come down to a lower frame, and there's lots of us and them. But there is a way for every single one of us to get what we want and get what we need. Now, right now, all of our wants are in places where most of us are not in alignment with reality. And so our desires, our wants and our desires, are out of alignment with our needs. We want all kinds of things that are really bad for us. And we are wanting desires that are taking us down a track that could be quite destructive for all of us, because we are playing out destructive energies because we have built many things that need destroying. And so because of that, just naturally, this is how the field works. You build things that are out of alignment and are not meeting the needs of the field. And I promise you, at the same time, you are creating forces of destruction that will bring them down. Because it's a holistic container. It contains the whole thing. You build things that can't sustain. You build forces at the same time that will destroy them so that they aren't a problem forever. If you built something that could not be sustained and at the same time you built it so strong that it would last forever, you would be building the beginnings of an eternal wasteland. And that is not what the universe is. It is an eternal playground of abundance and creation. And when we get on the wavelength of who we are and how to manifest the world of abundance and loving relationship and abundant food source and freedom of motion and movement, we do want order, but not law and order. We want synchronicity and order, freedom and order, love and order, abundance and order, natural order. How do you find your natural order? You don't have to find the natural order. That's already there. I think it would be helpful if humanity as a wholeness could recognize that there is such a thing as natural order, and then us all help one another to find your alignment. Find your alignment with the source that you are. You have a perspective inside of you, whoever you are. that can bring into focused sense everything that you have ever come in contact with, whatever the specifics of your life are. You can come into alignment with it. You can come into alignment with everything that you know and feel and are. Learn to use your guidance system to figure out your place from where you are. No one else can do it for you. No one else can. No one else can do it for you. You have to play your position on the grid. But it would be helpful to understand the nature of the grid and the nature of yourself. You are two. The one you know about. It's the one, it's the body. It's the temporary. That's the one you know about. That you have another. And she is the key to all things. She is your guidance system. And your guidance system says when you feel good, green light. When you don't feel good, red light. It just means stop, think about it, find your footing, find yourself, get back together. The two of you get back together, and now you feel good again. Now move. As easy as that sounds, it's not. It's not as easy as that because of the way our minds work and the way momentum works and our habits of things have gotten us into the habit of being in states of negative emotion. A state of negative emotion is not a natural state. To go into it temporarily is a natural state. When you get a load of something that you don't prefer, it is absolutely natural for you to have a negative thought about it for a minute. The problem is that our analytical mind can stay in the negative. It can then no longer be a function of a temporary moment in time that you recognize as not preferred. How do you use the information of the not preferred to find the preferred? That's the secret sauce. How do you use your guidance system? How do you, when you take a thought and the thought feels bad, spit it out. It's not that thought does not necessarily reflect some accurate aspect of reality. It could. Yeah, those people just died. Very, very sad. And depending on how you're looking at it, just know that the general frame that we are all in is all good. It's all good. Nothing is ever lost. There's nothing tragic going on here, although from a perspective on the actual surface, there's plenty going sad. There's plenty going sad. When we start playing with these physical beings and they pass, it's sad. We had fun playing with them. But the fact is that you are an eternal being. And I don't think that an nth of us spend an nth enough time identifying with that side of ourselves. It's truly who we are. It's not a big deal, even. The only reason it feels like a big deal is that we don't spend any time thinking about it. We don't spend any time identifying that direction I am my inner being. I am my inner being. I have access to all the information that my inner being has and knows. How do I access my inner being's information? I have to get into alignment with her. Well, so I can't be in a state of negative emotion because that's the one thing she can't do. Because what causes my negative emotion is my two minds going separate ways. My inner being is always where she is, always loving, always knowing, always connected, always the whole field. It is the divine matrix of energy that is matrixing us all together. That is what this vibrational aliveness that is one with the whole universe. How do you get into alignment with her? Well, follow the impetus of good feeling thoughts and just gently disengage yourself from the impetus of bad feeling thoughts. Don't judge them. Don't focus on bad feeling thoughts. Don't try to get other people to quit focusing on bad feeling thoughts. Don't warn other people about bad feeling thoughts. Not in that way. I'm trying to do a different thing, which is extra, read all about it. Look at how amazing, how cool we are, how cool this matrix is, how bright our collective future is. Because we can tap into all of this information, this wisdom, this vibration, this energy. We can tap into all of it. We are all of it. And you know what? Our future is full of nothing but abundance. The abundance that's going to be first caused by an unlimited energy source. Now, just get a hold of some technology, and now you can go off into the wilderness and you can carve out a magnificent apple orchard or goat cheese farm or a resort on the edge of the Chilean desert where the desert meets the sea. And now, because you have all the energy you could possibly need, you can get your equipment over there and assemble it all there on the edge of the sea, all of the equipment that you need to desalinate all the water that you want to desalinate. You can make some fabulous resort bloom in the most amazing way because you have all the water you could possibly need because you have an ocean that you can desalinate. And who cares how much energy it takes to desalinate that ocean because you've got all the energy you could possibly use. You can go out and you can recycle any trash that you ever create. That Great Pacific Garbage Patch, I used to call it Garbage Island because I thought it was more solid than it was, but there's this vast swirling vortex of garbage out in the Pacific Ocean. We could scoop that up and recycle it. No problem. Doesn't even matter how much energy that would take because we've got unlimited, clean, free energy at the source of all energy. That source that is our source. All of that is waiting for us in our future. And I, for one, can hardly wait. The answer to all of our problems lies in the structure of the universe and how very cool we are. It lies in us understanding the nature of our source energy being self, our vibrational self that is literally all in this together. It is one being. We are one being. There is only one of us here. And if we could individually generally learn to tap into that, then collectively we would all have tapped into that and synchronicity would be ours. The law, criminal justice, war, all of those horrors will be things in the past. And a beautiful natural order of peace and abundance can reign on planet Earth. But we got to understand who we are. We got to understand where we're going. We have to understand the template of our own consciousness. And that template includes two freaking beings, people. One purely vibrational and completely in touch with all of the rest of the field. She's in you. She's in you, she's in me. He's in you, he's in me, whatever. I don't know. I like to say she. You can say whatever you want. We have an inner being, and it is all one. And I notice that I have gone past an hour, so by definition, this is a lovely place to end. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully, I will be back soon, maybe tomorrow. I promise nothing. But this meditation is good for me, and recording it makes it less weird for me. So until tomorrow, or the next day, or the next time I see you, whenever that is, please do your best. You are a child of God, meant to be here. If you are here, you are meant to be here. You are part of the wholeness. Welcome to the party. Do your best, love yourself, and love each other. Because, as I've said before, there is only one of us here. And until next time, may the source be with you.